Today we're going to be making one of my favorite sandwiches, a delicious, smoky, shredded Italian beef style sandwich. Let's get to it. The star of our dish is this beautiful beef chuck roast. Let's get this guy out of the packaging. Traditionally, these Italian beef sandwiches are made with roast beef. Today I'm using a beef chuck roast, so we're going to smoke it, shred it, and make our sandwiches. It's a little bit different from the traditional way, but also delicious and much easier to make at home. We're going to start things off by applying a little yellow mustard on the outside of our chuck roast. This is going to act as a binder and will help the seasoning stick better to the meat. Make sure you grab both sides, just a nice even layer. Don't worry, you won't be able to taste this. You can use olive oil too. Really anything here will work. Just a nice thin layer. For the seasoning, I'm using this Fiji's barbecue beef rub. This is a mix of salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, so just a nice thin coat. Any seasoning here will work. Want to keep it kind of simple. Pat your seasoning in, and then we'll repeat on the other side. Want to make sure you get your edges as well. This will help create that delicious bark when this is on the grill. And that is looking pretty good. Our chuck roast is seasoned up. I'm going to let this come up to room temperature, hang out on the cutting board for a little bit while I go fire up the big green egg. Big green egg is fired up. It's cruising at about 250 degrees. Let's get this chuck roast on and get this thing going. Just right in the center. Close it up and let this guy cook. I'm gonna leave it on the big green egg for about 2 to 3 hours. I'm not really shooting for an internal temperature, really just to create that nice bark on the outside, get that smoky flavor into the beef, and then we'll continue on to the second part of this cook. We'll start by slicing up an onion. I'm gonna put these onions into a foil pan. Spread out on the bottom like so. You can also use a Dutch oven. Anything will work. These work great for this application. So this thing is looking great. That bark is forming on the outside. It is still pretty tough. So this will go in the foil pan. Add a couple pats of butter. We'll go with about a tablespoon of Italian seasoning and half a jar of these pepperoncini peppers. These are pretty mild, so just pour everything along with the liquid and then the peppers right on top. And I'll finish it all off with some beef stock. Just enough to cover the onions and get to about the bottom of where that chuck roast is. And I'll cover the whole thing with foil. Make sure to crimp those edges nice and tight. And this whole thing goes back on the egg. I'm gonna bump up the temperature to about 300 degrees and continue cooking until the chuck roast is nice and tender. It's gonna take about 2 or 3 hours more. Our chuck roast has been braising for about 3 hours now, so let's take a look. This thing is looking great. So I'm not really going for an internal temperature. I just want to make sure that it's nice and tender. So take a fork and then just poke into the meat and it should go in without any resistance. Just like here. Ooh, this thing is looking great. Chuck roast is off the egg, so I'm gonna let this thing cool down and rest for about 30 to 45 minutes. Then we'll shred it up and make our sandwiches. This has been resting for about 45 minutes. And now it's time to shred this up. I'm using some glove liners under my nitrile gloves just for a little heat protection, but you just want to take your meat and check this out. It just shreds on its own. You can see that beautiful smoke ring inside. It is so tender, so I'm going to shred this up, mix it with all these delicious juices, and then make our sandwiches. If you see any of these super stringy fatty pieces, you can just take these guys out. It's all shredded. Now we'll mix it together with these onions, these peppers. Our beef is shredded up, ready to go. So now we got 2 final ingredients to really make these Italian beef style sandwiches. I have these Italian style pre-sliced rolls, and to top the sandwich off, this mild giardiniera. It's nice and spicy and it'll complement the beef real nice. To start things off, I'm just gonna dip my bread right on top of this beef to absorb some of this jus. Make it nice and soft. Check that out. Okay, and I'm just gonna load this right up. Nice and full. We got the beef, we got the peppers, we got the onions, and now we'll go with our mild giardiniera right on top. Give this thing a little time, let these oils soak into that beef. This will be delicious. Our sandwich is ready. Check this thing out. It is just dripping, soaked with those juices. Let's give it a taste. Wow. Spicy, smoky, beefy. Not quite the traditional Italian beef, but Italian beef style with the shredded chuck roast, the jus, the mild giardiniera on top. Oh my gosh. It's messy, just like a traditional Chicago Italian beef sandwich. I am loving it. So that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what else you want to see me make next. I'm just going to hang out here, finish this delicious sandwich.